$600. That's what they fined us, $600 for a military ID badge hanging from my wife's rearview mirror. I remember standing in our driveway, holding that letter, and thinking, you've got to be kidding me. But here's the thing, 30 seconds after my wife made one phone call, everything flipped. The arrogant HOA president who'd strutted around like she ran the Pentagon suddenly wasn't looking so powerful anymore. Now, I know that sounds wild, like some TV drama, but I swear to you it all happened, and it happened fast. My wife, Diana's not just in the military, she is the military, you know what I mean. Calm, precise, scary smart. Used to teach military law to recruits, knows federal regulations like the back of her hand, and still somehow remembers to grab eggs on her way home. Me. I'm Ryan. I write code and try not to burn dinner. I married way out of my league, and I thank my lucky stars every day. We moved into this HOA-run neighborhood thinking we'd found a slice of peace. Trees lined the streets, neighbors smiled, and everything looked like it came straight out of a Hallmark movie until we met Pat Houghton. Pat's the kind of person who treats the HOA presidency like it's a seat on the Supreme Court. Hair always in a tight bun, glasses low on her nose, eyes filled with judgment. And for some reason, from the minute she saw Diana in uniform, she had a problem. Like, real visceral disgust. Turns out, there was a reason behind it, but that didn't make what came next okay. Her son had served too. Came back from deployment with scars you don't see, PTSD, financial strain, the whole nightmare. And one day, he couldn't take it anymore. Pat never forgave the system that failed him and somehow twisted that grief into rage against people who reminded her of him. So when Diana accidentally left her badge hanging one morning on the way to base, Pat pounced. That same afternoon, we got a formal violation letter claiming the badge violated community aesthetics. We thought it was a joke. Diana took it down that evening and went about her day. But that wasn't enough for Pat. 3 days later, a second letter came claiming Diana had put the badge back up. She hadn't. 2 days after that, a third letter, this time with photos. Only problem. The pictures were clearly from the first day, before the initial warning. That's when it clicked, this wasn't a misunderstanding. This was a setup. Then came the $600 fine. For a badge. A military badge. I was furious, ready to storm over to Pat's house and let her know exactly how ridiculous this was. But Diana. She just put her hand on my arm and said, they messed with the wrong person. That night, I found her at the kitchen table, surrounded by papers, legal codes, and an old photo of her unit. She whispered, this isn't about me. This is about the people who can't fight back. That's when I knew we weren't paying that fine. We were going to war. The next day, we got an unexpected ally. Bill Carson, former Navy, quiet guy, sat on the HOA board for years. He'd been watching Pat pull this kind of thing on police officers, firefighters, anyone in uniform. He'd stayed quiet out of fear, but when he saw what she did to Diana, something inside him snapped. He brought us boxes of documents, meeting notes, budgets, emails. That's when we uncovered the real story. Pat had started a veterans support fund after her son died. At first, it was noble meant to help other vets get the support her son never got. But over time, she turned it into a front. The donations, thousands from neighbors, businesses, were being funneled into consulting fees paid to companies she secretly owned. We were looking at full-blown embezzlement. And it didn't stop there. Anyone who questioned her, fined, intimidated, ostracized. So Diana crafted a response-led terror masterclass in polite destruction. She cited HOA exceptions, state laws, federal military protection statutes. Then she added one line, just one, a request to review the Veterans Support Fund financials. That was the move that broke Pat. 5 days of silence. Then, boom, Pat called an emergency meeting and pushed through a new policy, a total ban on visible military symbols. $1,000 fine. Just like that. At the meeting, Pat opened with a smug speech about community standards and outsiders. Diana let her talk. Let her dig her hole. Then she dropped the evidence line by line, document by document. She didn't even need to raise her voice. Just calmly laid out the financial inconsistencies, the misuse of donations, the targeting of service members. Pat's face turned 3 shades of panic. And then, twist number 2, Bill stood up. For the first time. Told the whole room what he'd seen. Emails. Conversations. Misappropriated funds. The man was shaking, but his voice didn't waver. Pat tried to push back, tried to bluff her way through. But when Diana pulled out printouts showing the money trail matching donation dates to her shell company payments, it was game over. You could hear a pin drop. She ended it with a line that gave me chills. I'm sure there's an explanation, and I'd love to hear it. But if not, the federal agencies I've contacted this morning will be in touch. And just like that, Pat knew it was done. The next morning, Diana made 2 phone calls to the Department of Defense's Civil Rights Office and to the federal agency that oversees veteran fund fraud. 30 minutes later, her phone rang. We're on it. Expect action within hours. By sundown, federal agents had already contacted the HOA's lawyer. Within 2 days, Pat resigned, the fines were rescinded, and the military ban policy was officially scrapped. But it didn't end there. At the next community meeting, just as Pat tried to save face with one last speech, 2 federal agents walked in, badges out. Patricia Houghton, you are under arrest for federal fund embezzlement, wire fraud, and civil rights violations. The sound of those handcuffs clicking shut. I swear, it echoed like thunder. She mumbled, they promised they'd help my son too. And for a moment, just a moment, you saw the broken mother under all that bitterness. But that didn't excuse what she did to others. The neighborhood's different now. Bill took over the board. The Veterans Fund was rebuilt with real oversight. Diana was offered a spot on the committee. She declined. Said, I just wanted to make things right. And the best part? A few months later, a new neighbor asked, are you the couple who got the old HOA president arrested? Diana just smiled and said, I don't like bullies. Especially ones who steal from veterans. So let me ask you, was this justice? Or did we go too far? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Was Pat a villain or a victim of her own grief? What would you have done if it were your spouse getting targeted? This one's gonna stir up some opinions, so speak up. Let's talk about what accountability really looks like and who gets to enforce it.